I really like this draft. What's up? Welcome to another Instant Reaction. I'm Grant Cohn. That's Ryan G. Hensley. We're the hosts of the Best 49ers show. Day two's over. The Niners made 3 picks. To me, this was the most important day of the draft for the Niners. They needed to get all 3 picks right. Let's go one by one and talk about what we like and maybe what we don't, or what misgivings we might have. Alfred Collins, pick 43, defensive tackle, Texas, 6'6", 232, big dude. Long arms, doesn't have that quick first step that we're used to the Niners coveting. He's a run stuffer. What do you think of this pick?
It's been a long day. He's 332, not 232.
Did I say 232? No, he's a full 332.
Yeah. That dude is a monster. Yesterday, what I did, so after the Mykel Williams pick, I tweeted out, if we want Mykel Williams to be the next Aldon Smith, then we need to find the next Justin Smith tomorrow. That's why I tweeted last night. I mean, I'm not saying either one of these guys are Aldon Smith or Justin Smith, but that combination in this defense is exciting to me. That guy's a load, man. I like the selection. They secured the entire side of the defensive line. Plus, you got Nick Bosa over there. They got one defensive tackle. Maybe they'll use, Evan Anderson or Kalia Davis. I'm not sure, or maybe they'll find somebody tomorrow. But those two dudes next to each other is exciting to me, man. We needed that big-bodied run stuffer in the middle, and this dude's 6'6", 330.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not just his size. He looks good, too.
Absolutely. To me, he's like the player they wanted, or they're taking another crack at the Javon Kinlaw skill set. Because the fact that Javon Kinlaw didn't work out for them, I mean, he just got paid. He didn't work out for them. He was injured. That's a big reason. But they wanted a 6'5", 6'6" dude who's 325, 330 for obvious reasons, because it's really hard to find a defensive tackle who's not a flat-out liability against the run in the wide 9 defense. It's really hard. And Kinlaw had the body type for it, but he didn't have the legs for it. He got pushed around. Hargrave got pushed around. I was tired of watching freaking defensive tackles get moved around like a sled in the snow. And I feel like, finally Alfred Collins is going to put an end to that. And it's overdue. I like it.
And, with all draft picks, obviously it's, TBD. But what I like about it is the 49ers, we'll get to their other picks too. But the 49ers looked at what was their biggest weakness last year. Their biggest weakness to me was stopping the run. And they addressed it. They tried to address it, at least in this draft. We'll find out if they did or not. But I like the guys that they picked. And the combination of Mykel Williams with Alfred Collins together gets me more hopeful than either one of them by themselves. Them together, plus Nick Bosa, plus Robert Saleh. I'm getting a little excited about this defense, and I'm surprised to be saying that so quickly.
I love this pick too, because I feel like they learned from the Kinlaw experience. Like, it's not wrong to want Javon Kinlaw on your defense, that skill set, but it is wrong to take it in round 1 because there's not enough upside as a pass rusher for that player. And I don't think Kinlaw ever had the upside. I'm not sure how much upside as a pass rusher Collins has. I mean, he might be the kind of guy who could push a pocket and run into a sack here and there. But that's the kind of guy you take on day 2. If you take this guy in day 1, there's so many expectations. And if he only has 3 sacks at the end of the season, it's a problem. But if this guy has 3 sacks and he has great run defense, it's a great second-round pick. I mean, this is the kind of guy you take right here.
I mean, think about it. Whether it's Alfred Collins and Nick Bosa or Alfred Collins and Mykel Williams, one of those guys is going to have to get double teamed. And so that means somebody's going to, have a one-on-one situation. And this is what the 49ers needed, man. It's been a long time coming. Again, we don't know what it's going to turn out like, but what I've done this year that's a little different than previous years is try not to fall in love with the players. That way, if the Niners went a different direction, then I could watch their film, watch their tape, and study them specifically and see what I think of them and not be mad because the player I wanted didn't get drafted. And when I look at the film for these guys and I think about the needs that the 49ers had, all 4 picks so far are needs filled. And this is the biggest need to me was defensive line, being able to stop the run. And I'm all for it, man. I like it.
Yeah, it seemed like Saleh or maybe the Niners have really evolved in their thinking of how to build a defense. Because in the past, it was very much like first step quickness, get up field, arm length doesn't matter. We're not locking out. We're trying to get in the backfield, and that's where Javon Hargrave came into play, and it just didn't work. And now, Saleh's been gone for 4 years. Hargrave wasn't his idea. Now you get him back, and all of a sudden it's like the 2 first picks are D line. And neither one is this quick first step guy. They're not undersized. They're both big, and they both have long arms, which to me gives the Niners the ability to do some 2-gapping when necessary. They don't always have to be a 1-gap defense. And like if they want to have 2 deep safeties, which is all the rage, and you have 7 in the box, there's 8 gaps, one player has to 2-gap. And now you got a defensive end who can do it, a defensive tackle who can do it. You can switch it up. It gives you I love it because they're so married to this wide 9 defensive front. Now they don't necessarily have to be. It seems like they can do some other things.
Well, that, and if they want to run the wide 9, now they got a guy that can eat up space.
Hell yeah,
right. So it's great for both situations. I like this is what defensively. This is what I've been dying for. If there's one thing about this draft that I guess if you want to look at in a negative light is, I think the 49ers have to address offensive tackle. That I wanted them to do it now and plan ahead, but they had so many needs. I understand why they went this route, but what it does is it's likely going to put them in a position next year where they have to find an offensive tackle, and that you don't really want to be in that situation, but it almost feels like they're planning for this year, which is a good thing because that means they think they can compete, and that's a good sign.
I agree with you. I think people who might not like this draft, and I don't know if it's going to be, we don't really know if it's going to be good. I like it, but I think people who might not like it would say, man, you need pass rushers. Mykel Williams, great run defender. Alfred Collins, great run defender, but you don't really know what kind of pass rushers they are. And maybe right now, neither one's much of a pass rusher. I see that, but to me, I feel like run defense was a bigger issue. You're spending $34 million on Nick Bosa, who's to me kind of a one-trick pony. I mean, he's out there trying to get sacks. He's not really worried about much else. So I think it's fair to say, you know what, if we just have a really good run defense and Nick Bosa, we'll give ourselves some 3rd and longs, and then Nick can earn his paycheck. And Robert Saleh can scheme up some pressures.
That's what I was going to say. He can dial it up. I mean, the 2 guys that got drafted today, we'll talk about in a second, the linebacker and the nickel are both really good blitzers also. So he can dial it up in that regard. But like for me, I'm old school. My philosophy, that's why I like Jim Harbaugh. But my philosophy is be able to run the ball, smash mouth. That's not the Niners, but be able to stop the run is the second most important thing. It's the most important thing on defense. So the fact that they saw it as a problem and they're addressing it, whether it works out or not, we'll see. But I love the fact that they see it as a problem and they're addressing it. They did feel like they drafted for need.
Oh my goodness, they drafted for need. They did.
Yeah, like whole fill it.
Absolutely.
Excuse me, pause probably. But that's what I see in this draft. I think they're doing a great job so far, honestly.
When you draft for need, you're going to end up reaching a little bit, but it's important to have a very clear idea of the skill sets you're looking for and how you're going to use the player. And I feel like with the Niners, I give them the benefit of the doubt. Like I really get the feeling the defensive coordinator is making these picks. He's going to be the guy building the defense. And if he sees, healthy Javon Kinlaw and Alfred Collins, if he sees Dre Greenlaw and Nick Martin, if he sees K'Wan Williams and Upton Stout, then he's going to, those guys are going to have a real chance to succeed unless Robert doesn't know what he's looking at. And he's been doing this for a long time. He's got a track record. I have a feeling like if anyone could find the next Dre Greenlaw, if anyone could find the next K'Wan Williams, it's Saleh.
Yeah, man. I do have a lot of faith in Saleh, and we'll get to the other picks, but I have a lot of faith in the 49ers when it comes to linebacker. I know we've had a few swings and misses there, and I'm not sure why they signed Devondre Campbell, but they're usually pretty damn good at the linebacker spot, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll get into that later, but I do like Alfred Collins. I think the pick is very good.
Let me go full Captain Hindsight here, which isn't fair at all, but I got to do it. So they go D end round 1, D tackle round 2. In hindsight, they could have gone D tackle round 1, D end round 2, and taken Kenneth Grant with the 11th pick and Mike Green with the 43rd pick.
Yeah.
What would you rather done?
I'm scared of Mike Green. I saw him get drafted today, and he was emotional and means a lot to him. And I believe in innocent until proven guilty. But he's been accused of sexual assault twice. The first one was dropped. So hey, but
Both were
now
dropped,
he's
yeah.
been accused again. I don't know what's going to happen with that. And again, innocent until proven guilty. But I feel like it's not worth the risk because who knows, you know.
But of course, the Ravens felt it was worth the risk. I mean, they had Ray Lewis for crying out loud. Anyway.
And the Ravens are right there by Virginia, so maybe they know something we don't know. And again, you know, I don't want to accuse the kid. I don't know anything about his cases, but it's a second separate case now.
All I know is that Justin Tucker had similar had accusations of his own, and he's still on the Ravens. So I can't say I'm surprised. But
yeah,
hey, innocent until proven guilty. I think the Niners made the right call in round 1 and 2. Then they go to round 3 and they take a linebacker. The Niners take Nick Martin, round 3, Oklahoma State. He was more projected to go in round 4. Was hurt last year. He's a 5'11", 220-pound linebacker, built more like a old school strong safety. Runs a 4.52. Really, really athletic, but a bit small. What do you think of this pick? It's supposed to be the Dre Greenlaw pick.
He's 100. He's small. 220. Excuse me.
220.
What? I think he had like 26 reps on 225. That's really good.
Solid.
Man.
Solid.
He's fast. He ran a 4.51. Small dude, but here's how I see it. Like if you look at the total package, you have Fred Warner, and then you got a ridiculously fast D Winters, and now you have a ridiculously fast Nick Martin. You have Malik Mustafa. Nick Martin's like a bigger Malik Mustafa is what his film looks like to me. So he's kind of a wild card player. They can move him all around and use him in a million different ways. He could drop back damn near. I like the Nick Martin pick, dude. I sound like a homer. And, you know, Michael, I was a little cautious on last night because the production wasn't there. But I went back and watched film last night. So Michael, Alfred, Nick, a lot of people are saying it's a reach. And maybe that's the case. But I think that comes from, you know, your own evaluations. And we'll see how those evaluations turn out. But for the 49ers, they got a guy that they wanted that filled their need. So we'll see what happens with him. But when I look at Nick Martin, small, yes, a lot smaller than Greenlaw, but fast as hell. He almost reminds me of D Winters in the way he is so fast and he's over pursuing sometimes. But I really think if anybody can fix that, it's probably Robert Saleh.
Yeah, I mean, he reminds me of Quan Alexander. Remember, Quan was like that, about 6 feet, 225, and he would miss a ton of tackles. Now, he was coming off a torn ACL when the Niners got him, so his best football was really in Tampa, but he was really good in Tampa, and I think his thing was he was so fast, he'd be the first one over there. Would he finish the play? Not necessarily, but he'd slow up the ball carrier and allow the rest of the defense to get there and rally to make tackle, and I think Saleh's always liked to have at least one linebacker on the field like that. He's had a bunch of Telvin Smith 10 years ago. I mean, he's had so many. And this is, he's one of the best D coordinators in the league. He's got a linebacker background. I don't think there's many guys who are better at scouting, drafting, and developing linebackers than him. So if he says this is the next Dre Greenlaw or the next Quan Alexander, I tend to believe him. Maybe I'm becoming a homer and soft in my old age, but I'm giving Saleh the benefit of the doubt here because of his track record.
Well, I mean, when it comes to, you're being fair. I think I'm being fair at this moment. Like, I don't think we're being homers necessarily. We don't know what's going to happen with these guys. But what we do know is the Niners tend to do pretty damn good with linebacker. We know Robert Saleh used to be a linebacker, used to coach linebackers, has done a fantastic job with linebackers in the past. And he's a great coordinator. And when I watch the tape, these guys are fast. They're athletes. They're strong dudes, and they're hard hitters. So like all of that sounds great. Again, we got to see it play out and see if they reach that potential and if they know what they're talking about. But I like the approach, right? They solidified an entire side of the defensive line with their first 2 picks. Then they beefed up the second tier. Fred Warner, D Winters is fast. D Winters and this guy are very similar. They're both speedy as hell. So if Saleh can just get him a little bit better with the intuition and anticipation and not over pursuing, I mean, you can have some serious talent here. So I'm sorry, I like the pick.
It's going to be really tough to run the ball on the 49ers next season. You got Nick Bosa, Jordan Elliott or Evan Anderson, whoever wins that job, Alfred Collins, Mykel Williams, Fred Warner, Nick Martin, D Winters. It's a good front seven, man. And then with Malik Mustafa lurking behind, it's a really, really good front seven. I'm not saying, I mean, the pass rush could be better for sure, but
Yep.
I mean, in this, you got Jalen Milroe in this division. You got Kyler Murray in this division. I mean, you got Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts in this conference. Like, you gotta stop the run. And the Niners, I mean, they're not a soft defense anymore. They were soft the last couple of years. I mean, they were good, but you couldn't call them tough. Now I think they're built to be tough. And I wonder when Saleh took this job, if he said, look, man, I'll take it, but I don't know what the hell you guys have done with this defense. It's an abomination. Let me start over. That's what I want. Give me like 4 picks. Let me start over. And they did.
Well, you remember when he was being pursued, I mean, he had a ton of options. And we talked about on your show, and I said, I bet you part of the negotiations was, what do I get in the draft? And I think we're seeing it play out. I think he, the 4 first picks in this draft are defense. So I don't think it's too presumptuous to think that that's what happened here. So I like it, man. I think the 49ers' biggest weakness was stopping the run. Their first 2 picks are going to help with that. Their third pick is probably going to help with that, sideline to sideline. That's what Greenlaw was really good at. D Winters, this guy Nick Martin, hella fast, and Fred's out there to direct him. Saleh's out there to direct him. I think it's the formula.
This draft reminds me so much of the 2017 draft, which was the Niners starting over with the clean slate. It was Saleh's first year. They went Solomon Thomas. I'm not saying these players are the same, but just the positions. They went Solomon Thomas, who was a defensive tackle and a defensive end in one, although he was neither. Then they went Reuben Foster, the linebacker, second level of defense. Then they went to Keller Witherspoon. So first level, second level, third level. It didn't work out, but that was the idea when building a defense. Now, instead of having this hybrid tweener, you go D end and D tackle. And you can't accuse either one of being a tweener. Like, that's a D end's D end and a D tackle's D tackle. Then you go linebacker, and then you go nickelback, which I find is interesting. Instead of getting a guy on the edge, another guy right in the middle of your defense, almost like a linebacker, someone that we've seen how Robert Saleh used nickels in the past. With K'Wan Williams, he was blitzing. I mean, he was like his secret weapon.
Here's where they were a little sneaky, right? Which I don't know if anyone's talked about yet. By drafting the nickel, and that's what Upton Stout is, they're going to keep Demo outside, but they're paying him like a nickel. So that's sneaky play by the Niners right there.
Absolutely. They got him at nickel rate, and they move him out to – I mean, if they've done that last year, they would have had to pay him a lot more money.
Exactly, yeah. So that's a sneaky play not a lot of people are speaking about. Uptown is a straight nickel. So that's the role that they're hoping to put him in. Another dude, Hellish, 20 – this dude's 188 pounds, 22 reps of 225 on the bench. So that's a guy that can come inside and help in the run game as well. So I think this is a great pick again. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are like, it's a reach, but they filled the need. They've got the guy they wanted. The other thing, Grant, real quick, is I watched all of these guys like interviews and really good character type dudes. And I think a lot of people, when they're analyzing the draft, they're not considering like the kind of person they are behind the scenes, because most of the time, how would you know? You're not doing these visits. You're not talking to these guys. So you may have a better pick. Oh, we should have got this guy, should have got that guy. But you don't know what that guy was like when he came to visit or he spoke one-on-one. These guys all, from what I can see, seem like high character dudes.
Yeah, and it seems like they kind of understood that they were going to be coming to the 49ers. Like, all of them were like, yeah, I had a great visit with the Niners, and I really like their coaches, and they seem to really like me, and they had a real vision for how they were going to use me. That's what Fred Warner talked about when he had his visit with the Niners. He sat down with Robert Saleh, and Robert Saleh was like, dude, you're really good, and here's my vision, and here's what you're going to be in my defense. And no one had ever talked to him like that. I think Robert Saleh, when he finds a guy he likes, he zeroes in on you. And that's why I think you see these picks like Upton Stout and Nick Martin. It's like, oh, you reached. It's like, no, Robert Saleh circled you months ago, and he's just not gonna miss out on you. Now, that's how you miss out. I mean, it's not the best way to draft always. Sometimes you want to let the best player drop to you, but That's how coaches draft. I need this guy. He's perfect for my defense. I gotta have him. And he knows.
They looked at what they needed and they filled those holes.
Yeah.
With players they believe answered. So we'll see if they were correct. Just because we like them now and it looks good now doesn't mean that's how it's gonna pan out. Stout was ranked to be a 6th rounder by a lot of people, but if he ends up being good, it doesn't matter. So we'll see. He's an automatic nickel. I think he's Darrell Luter can battle him and see if he can push Demo inside or maybe take that spot. But a hell of a name too, Upton Stout.
Upton Stout. It's a good name for a 5'8" nickelback. One of the things I want to say, like, I think a lot of teams would be turned off by a 5'8" corner in general. Like, a lot of teams will be like, I don't want anyone shorter than 5'10". Because it's hard to match up man to man when you're that short, because a wide receiver, if he's 6 feet tall, all of a sudden he's got 4 inches on you, let alone if a guy's 6'2". So the Niners didn't care though with K1. K1 was also short, and I think they felt like, well, we're playing so much zone, we're not really asking him to match up man to man. He can cover a zone, and the rest of his game is almost benefited from his short stature. Like, he's tough, he's a good tackler, and you can't see him when he blitzes. I always felt like he was Saleh's secret weapon. He always wanted you looking over here so he could bring K'Wan Williams off the other edge, and you just don't see him, and all of a sudden he hits your quarterback. He may not get the sack, but good player. I feel like Saleh could use Upton Stout the same way. And my one issue with Lenore as a nickel, great player, but they never used him that way. And I'd like that nickel to be kind of a weapon more than just a coverage guy.
And it also gives you freedom, right? Like, let's say Luter looks like a good outside corner, or, you go matchup, right? Smaller guy is outside. You can bring Demo inside to play nickel against a bigger dude. So they have flexibility there, just because he is, he's a nickel. He'll be able to handle those small, shifty type slot receivers, I think, pretty well. Like the Ricky Pearsalls of the world. I think he's a good matchup for those type of dudes. So I think
he definitely match up with Jacob Cowing.
Yeah, he's a great Jacob Cowing type of match. There's a lot of those little tiny slot guys.
It's true. Tutu Atwell.
Yeah, right. And then when you have these big slot like the Jawan Jennings of the world, then you can pop Demo inside and let Stout go outside, or pop Luter in. So
that's a good.
They have that flexibility. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the picks. Let's make some prize picks of ours. It's our turn for the picks. Prize picks. And these are going to be NFL season picks. We finally got Purdy. These are like more or less for passing yards. Purdy 3850. It seems like he's going to be the Niners quarterback this year. They haven't drafted Shedeur Sanders yet.
Yeah. We got to talk about that at some point.
Yeah, we will.
Look, I picked over last year for Brock at 3850. He didn't get it. I'm gonna cross my fingers and say he's gonna get it this year. So I'm gonna go more.
You're so optimistic. I love that about you. What about who is Jack Fox? Punter.
What?
Will he have half a passing yard? I'm gonna leave that one alone. Let's see. CJ Stroud, 3749.5. Just got both Iowa State wide receivers.
They got a tackle for him. This is what they needed. I think Stroud's gonna have a comeback season.
About Darnold, 3474.5 with Jalen Milroe breathing down his neck.
Sam Darnold. Do I want to bet? I don't want to bet for Sam Darnold. I want to be a hater on Sam Darnold and the Seahawks and say less. That's my only reason in here.
Me too. I was hoping you would say that. Kyler Murray, kind of a make or break year for him, 3374.5.
I'm going to say more than. I'm going to say greater than.
Caleb Williams, 3350.5.
Oh, I think the Bears have one of the best off seasons. They had the best off season. Let's be real. They had the best off season in the NFL this year. I'm going more for Caleb Williams.
What'd you like about their off season? Ben Johnson.
Okay, Ben Johnson. They picked up 3 free agent offensive linemen. They drafted another one. They have 4 new offensive linemen. They went after and got their tight end of their choice. They chose a tight end before Warren, so I trust Ben Johnson there. Who else did they get? They got they got someone else that I really like too, and I can't remember. I'll tell you right now, actually. So they got Shamar Turner, defensive. Yeah. So Colson Loveland, Luther Burden, hell of a wide receiver, Ozzie Trapilio. That dude's 6'8", monster offensive tackle, and Shamar Turner. That's a good draft. Plus everything they did in free agency. Plus they got Ben Johnson.
Yeah, well, it's good, but it's not as good as our prize picks. Check it out. Drink it in with your eyes. Brock Purdy, Stroud, Darnold, Murray, Caleb Williams. Flex playing it just to be safe, even though we always get all of our picks right. Submitting the lineup. And boom, it's as simple as that. Go to check out prize picks on your own. Use promo code COHN on your first deposit, $5. Win or lose, get 50. That's how it works. All right, from this draft, what were some picks that really intrigued you, or some non-picks? We could talk about people who got picked, didn't get picked. Go whatever direction you want.
We have to talk about the elephant in the room here, Grant.
I've never seen anything like it.
It's insane. Whoever
it's the biggest fall I've ever seen.
Look, so in the beginning, I was like, this is how the way the NFL is feeling about Shedeur Sanders is how I initially felt. Then I started watching him and not listening to him talk in the media or anything, just watching him.
Yeah.
And I kind of turned the corner. I'm like, hey, he actually looks pretty decent.
Yeah.
And then I like started seeing more stuff like off the field, into the Hall of Fame for no reason type things. He's sitting there on a promotional couch, and then I started like, okay, I'm not into Shedeur Sanders. But now it's ridiculous at this point. Like whoever drafts him is going to get hella value. He doesn't deserve to be this far down. That's how I feel.
Is it possible that he's told teams like, look, I don't want to play for you. I don't want to get drafted in round 3 or 4. I'd rather just not get drafted and go back to school. I'm going to go back to college. Because you can make so much money in college. You can't make very much money as a 4th round pick. That's embarrassing, though.
This whole thing is, I think it is possible.
Could he go back to Colorado? He's already in the Hall of Fame. I don't know.
And here's the other thing. I guarantee you teams are talking to these assistant coaches also, not just Dion. Off the record, what do you really think of Shedeur? And, I also think Dion is in part – I think people are scared of Dion. I know that sounds crazy, but you could be picking a coach to replace you when you pick Shedeur Sanders. That's 100% realistic. I know Dion said, I don't want to coach in the NFL. Sure. But in a year or two, if Shedeur doesn't work out and he's struggling, and Dion's going to be chirping, Dion could always change his mind, and he has a lot of power in the NFL. I could totally see him coming into the NFL, and I think a lot of coaches are worried about that whole thing. So I get it, but now it's time to draft Shedeur Sanders, and if you do, you're going to get hell of a value, I think, at this point in the draft.
All right, which teams do you think are doing a good job in this draft? Which teams have you liked?
The Bears, obviously. Who was the other team that I really liked? I'll figure it out. I'm trying to remember. I just had
here.
them.
While you think, I got one. I like what the Arizona Cardinals are doing. They drafted Walter Nolan and Jordan Birch, 2 defensive linemen, and they got Will Johnson. Like Will Johnson may not have a long career because he's got bone on bone cartilage things in his knee apparently, but he should be good for 4 years. I mean, he should be good for his rookie contract, and they got him in round 2. That's 3 good players they got.
Yeah, I think I like what Seattle did. This wasn't the team. Eagles did good. Seattle did good, though. Gray Zabel, guard. Nick Emery,
Elijah Arroyo, and Jalen Milroe. 4 good picks.
4 good picks. Jalen Milroe could be something difficult for the 49ers to handle if they can develop him as a passer. He's a hell of a runner, like dangerous.
Yeah, and they can take their time with him, and I like that the coach comes from the Ravens, so like they have the vision.
Right. And then, of course, the Eagles, they got Jihad Campbell and Andrew Makuba, which I thought
solid.
Great picks. I mean, they had like the least draft capital in the NFL, and they did a really good job. The Chargers having a good draft, I think.
What do you think of the Saints taking Tyler Shugg instead of?
It's crazy.
They did
at this point. It's wild to me at this point, honestly. What's going on with Shedeur? I understood it in the beginning, falling out of the first. I'm like, okay, he's going to go early in the second, but I did feel like if the Raiders didn't grab him in the second, I felt like this was going to happen because everyone else kind of found their guy. prior to that point. So yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I think somebody's going to clean up really nicely when they pick Shedeur. The Browns had a great draft. Mason Graham, Carson Schwarzenegger, the linebacker from UCLA,
I
first
like that.
pick.
Yeah,
it was a good one. Yeah, so I think
Quinshon Judkins, Harold Fannin Jr., Dylan Getz, a really good draft.
9 defensive tackles in, I think, first 3 rounds, or first 2 rounds, I want to say. I forget what the number is, but this was a heavy defensive line draft. A lot of meat and potatoes in this draft, and I think you're going to need to be prepared offensively for these teams. Oh, freaking Broncos, man. Broncos. Let me pull them up real quick so I don't.
I got them. Hold on. They got Jahdae Barron, RJ Harvey, Pat Bryant, Savion Jones. Yeah.
They're already a hell of a good defense. Then they add Huff, Greenlaw, Jahdae Barron.
Yes, that defense is incredibly loaded.
This might be the best defense in the NFL this coming season.
And then you got the Packers are interesting because they're another like team on the cusp. They added 2 wide receivers, Matthew Golden, Savion Williams, plus an offensive tackle. So they're trying their best to get the most out of Jordan Love, while the Niners are over here thinking about paying Brock Purdy, but not giving him any offensive line or any help, which, tough. Sorry. They need defense will help you.
I mean, the Niners believe in the guys they have on the offensive line, and you can argue whether they should or should not. I personally don't think it's good enough, but they're comfortable with it. So, going into this draft, I probably should have expected that, and they went the other route on the other side of the ball. But what they did draft was good.
They probably feel they can find someone who's just as good or better than Burford and Barch in round 4 or 5, and they might be right. We'll have to see. Cam Cooper's his first time using Prize Picks. I'm currently 2 for 3 on my pick for the draft. Patiently waiting for my pick for Shedeur plus 11.5. Easy money. Make sure you go play Prize Picks yourself. TY donates $10. Says Niner fans, we back rewriting the Buckner ring. This guy might finally be able to replace him. Jesse Jr. says, man, y'all level-headed and positive. Coach had me losing my stuff with him. Oh, he didn't like Alfred Collins? That's all right.
I'm not sure. I wasn't able to catch it today.
6 Minute Ab says Milrow to Seattle nightmare times 10 Russell. Well, let's see if they can actually. It's interesting. I mean, the offensive coordinator there is Clint Kubiak. Let's see if he can succeed where Kyle Shanahan failed. All except Collins have had significant injuries.
I don't know about that. I mean, we had an MCL sprain. Who was that? The guy that had an MCL sprain?
Nick Martin. He never had surgery. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's totally recovered from it. Had a great combine. He looks fine.
Michael had a high ankle sprain.
Is that a really significant injury?
I mean, did either one have surgery?
Yeah. Michael did.
He did
have surgery.
He did surgery.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Chris V says, how are we feeling about Sanders falling this far? We talked about it. Goobertown, Arkansas says, I really like Alfred Collins. He is a behemoth. He sure is. How would you grade this draft so far? 4 picks, 2 days, 3 rounds. Give it a grade. It's incomplete.
I mean, it is complete. So far, it's hard to grade drafts. It's so hard to grade drafts because we don't know how they're going to do. But if I'm going to do it, I'll give them a B+, A- at this point.
I'm right there with you.
4 picks, 4 needs filled for now. That's good. No.
It would have been nice if they could have traded down once and get one more pick in the top 100. They took up in Stout where they did it 100. I wonder if that was their I know they liked him, but he was projected to go later. And 2 offensive linemen that they may have been interested in went right before. Was it Charles Grant? And the Raiders took both of them. Hold on, let me get their names real quick. They went back to back right in front of the Niners. Charles Grant and Caleb Rogers. I wonder if the Niners were hoping to take one of those guys, and when they're both gone, they're like, well, instead of reaching for a guard, why don't we just take the nickel back that we really like, and we'll figure out the guard later. I don't know. And that's my only reason I'm not giving this this draft an A, because it would have been nice to get an offensive lineman at some point in the first 3 rounds. They probably would have had to trade down to do it. Maybe they'll get a guy who's really good in round 4 or 5, and we'll see, in which case I'll adjust my grade. But for now, that's my only misgiving, that they didn't address a position that's been a weakness forever, and they're still in this. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Kind of is.
Well, like so they're going to play whether 49er fans like it or not. They believe in Jake Brendel. They believe in Colt McKivitz. So to me, those guys need to be replaced, but the 49ers don't feel that way. Obviously, Trent Williams has said he's playing, and if he's playing, you got that covered. So you have Dominic Pooney. He played fantastic as a guard. So the 49ers, based on how they view the team, they might need another guard, which they can address tomorrow and have possibly some depth rotation there. In their eyes, they have Burford and Barch who can take that spot at left guard probably in their eyes. Whether that's true or not, I have my opinions. I wanted the 49ers to invest in offensive line for years now. But that's not what they do, right? Their belief system is quarterback, defensive line. So that's what they did. And we'll have to see how it works out.
They did draft Banks in round 2, and they took Pooney round 3. I think they're in this position where they have so many freaking needs. They're trying to handicap them and rank them. And they're probably saying yeah, I mean, we'd love a left guard, but we are paying Spencer Burford more than $3 million this year. He's got to do something. He's in his 4th year. He might be better than whatever the number 3 corner is, or whoever, he might be better than Trey Brown. So we're going to have to go nickel here. And as much as we'd love to get one of these offensive linemen in round 3, we have to wait because we just have bigger needs.
You said it right. The biggest needs on the 49ers is defensive tackle. That's the biggest one to me. Then there's defensive end. They solved both of those. They still need a spot at defensive tackle. So there was a bigger gaping
They could use another safety.
Right. There's a bigger need for the 49ers on that defensive side. Not saying that the offensive line is good, but they have serviceable guys. Whereas on the defensive line, they didn't really have that necessarily. So they had to go that route.
They have 4 of their 5 starters from last year, and the one guy who wasn't a starter has started a bunch of games for them in Burford.
Yeah.
So it's not a good offensive line, but it's an offensive line.
It's a NFL offensive line.
It's an NFL offensive line.
It's not great, but what they had on defense coming into this draft was not a NFL defensive line.
No.
So they had to, right? Now, again, though, that puts them in the position possibly as soon as next year where they have to get a tackle, and that's going to be a bad position to be in. But as for right now, it was a more timely need to solve the defensive line.
And I don't want to blame this all on Trey Lance because it's not his fault, but I feel like it's the fallout of that trade. When you spend 3 firsts and a third on a player who plays 4 games and then you get rid of him, it doesn't matter that you got Brock Purdy and you put a Band-Aid on it and you didn't feel the pain right away because you're feeling it now. 6 and 11, what was that about? That trade? Very much. I mean, that's 3 potential Pro Bowlers that you don't have on your roster because you threw those picks away. And then now, would you like to be able to draft BPA and let the draft come to you? And you'd love to, but you can't because you just threw those picks away and now you're trying to make up for it. So I think they did the best they could. But if certain fans are frustrated that the Niners reached for people or didn't take someone who fell to them, it's because they had to draft for need. They had to do this.
And, the people that feel like they reached, that's because they had a preference or an idea in mind coming into this draft. And I only spent time really on the first rounders and early second rounders. Those are the guys I actually looked at. So after that, I really didn't have I got to have this guy. And so I'm judging them after they're drafted. I go watch them, look at everything, and they look solid to me. So, most people I think are just mad because in their mind, they thought so-and-so was better or this person's better, but they don't really know. And they also don't know behind the scenes character stuff that these teams do. So I try to be very TBD when it comes to draft picks. I'm not going to call it a bad pick until we see what they got,
Harold McAllister says A- draft so far because they picked Upton Stout 1 or 2 picks too early, but we're taking care of needs with each pick. I agree with 100% with Harold McAllister. I get the feeling that there was someone else they were targeting, a different position. I can't prove it at 100. And the guy got picked, and the Niners were like, okay, well, we were going to take Upton Stout at 113 or 138. Why don't we just take him now? We love him. We don't love any of the other whatever guard or safety, whatever that's left over. So we'll take this guy and we'll figure out that position later. That's possible.
Yeah. And to speak on what you're talking about earlier, It's not like you said. Just to clarify, it's not Trey Lance's fault at all. It's the
No.
people that chose to do that, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not his fault that they picked him at. Was he going to tell him no? That's Kyle's fault. So
Exactly. And they would say it's not his fault. I think before the draft, it was interesting. John Lynch made the point, like, we're at our best when we build consensus with picks. And he's made that point a bunch. And it's like, well, yeah, don't all teams do that with all picks? But I think there's been a little bit of a sense that the last 8-9 years, when Kyle Shanahan has wanted to, he's been able to say, this is who I want, make it happen. And I don't think the organization's had great results from Kyle Shanahan doing that. And I think maybe they're discouraging him from doing it. I'm just guessing. It feels like there's much more of a collaborative process and much less of Kyle saying, I need a running back right now, trade up for him.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, no offensive players taken. So even, maybe Kyle is involved, but at least he understands that, hey, you're not going to get some toys. Like, that's the thing I think that I'm so happy about is that it was straight, guys they needed that aren't necessarily weapons for Kyle. So that wasn't the focus. It was, let's fill in the needs. Let's get a bit better in the trenches on the defensive side. Let's fix our biggest problem, which is stopping the run. Let's fill the biggest needs on this team, which is, to me, the players that they drafted. Those were the biggest needs on this team. They still have more.
Though, if I were Brock Purdy, I'd be looking at this draft and being like, yeah, cool. Love it. Where's the offensive lineman? Because I'm your big investment, or I'm supposed to be. So let's talk about that. Day 3 coming up tomorrow. Quick turnaround. 4 rounds. Got 2 picks in round 3, 113, 138. 2 picks in round 5, 147, 160. Nothing in round 6 at this time. And then 3 picks in round 7. Let's put round 7 to the side for now. Those 4 picks, rounds 4, 5. How would you like the Niners? You don't have to say pick for pick, but what do you want to see the Niners accomplish on day 3?
On day 3, they have to get. I don't really believe in tackles at this point in the draft offensively. So I feel like center guard of the future is maybe a guard right away would be great. But they got a lot of needs still. And I don't even know if they can solve them in this draft. They might need to, 2 years of drafting to get back where they need to be. But wide receiver is still a bigger need than a lot of people realize, in my opinion. Running back is a huge need.
Huge.
I don't think people realize that. Like, they're just assuming CMC is going to be back and be himself and be healthy. And I don't feel good about not having a Jordan Mason behind him. So they need to find a replacement for Jordan Mason. That's a huge need, in my opinion. So I like to see them go offense here. I do think they draft one more defensive tackle at some point, maybe a 6th rounder or something. But I feel like that's where they're going to go. Interior O-line, wide receiver, running back is what I expect tomorrow, first thing.
That's a good call. If they were to take a running back with their next pick in round 4, I wouldn't be mad at it. And if they took Scatterboo in round 4, I wouldn't be mad at it. I prefer Damian Martinez personally, but I feel like they're going to take one of the two because those are the 2 real bruisers in the draft, the 2 guys who I think would be the best replacements for Jordan Mason. And I think I don't know for sure, but I think they're trying to replace that particular skill set. So I would say Damian Martinez at 113 or Scatterboo. I wonder if they're going to wait till round 5 for an offensive lineman. They took Burford in round 5. They took McKivitz in round 5. I wonder if they feel like they can get a guard / tackle / swing guy who can kind of fill in round 5 since they've done it twice. Jalen Moore was a 5th round pick. They've done it 3 times. In round 4 last year, they took Mustafa and Garendo. They could do it again. They could take a safety and a running back again this year since it worked out last year, and they still have needs at those positions. And in round 5, they could go offensive tackle, tight end.
I think
offensive tackle, wide receiver.
I think first pick tomorrow is running back, and I think it's Cam Scatterboo if he's available. Where are they at 113, their next pick?
That'd be a solid pick. That'd be solid.
So
I wouldn't have liked it around 3, but around 4, fine.
Yeah, exactly. I was cautious about Cam because a lot of people are talking like, hey, he's a 2nd rounder, late 1st rounder, 3rd rounder. I'm like, I don't know. But 4th rounder, I think that's a good pickup.
Yep. I like that. So running back, safety, offensive tackle, tight end. wide receiver. I mean, really, like I feel like they locked Kyle Shanahan out of the draft room for the first 2 days, and now it's like, all right, Kyle, you can come back in. What do you want? What do you want? You want a backup running back? You want a backup quarterback? What kind of superfluous backup player do you absolutely need for your scheme? We'll get them for you, man. It's all you now.
Yeah, I think so. Running back's obviously a big need. Wide receivers bigger than people think, in my opinion. They have Jawan Jennings. They have Ricky Pearsall. Demarcus Robinson, I believe, is going to be suspended the first 3 games for what was it? DUI? Or no? Yeah.
Something like that.
I think he's going to be suspended for that. Brandon Ayuk's probably not going to come back until like late October at the earliest is my best guess. And all you have left is Jacob Cowan, Tariq Owens, Russell Tage. Oh, but you do have Trent Taylor. No, I think the 49ers need to find a guy. So to me, it's running back, wide receiver, the most crucial 2 needs the 49ers need to go after first thing tomorrow.
Yeah. I still feel like every pick that goes by and they don't take an offensive lineman, you can justify it, but it's like almost like a joke. Like, again, still, it really doesn't matter at all. Like, I understand there's so many other needs, but this has been like a theme for years with this team. And it's so nice to see the Niners sort of evolve on defense and be like, no, we need run defenders. No, we need edge setters. Like, it's not just all about all gas, no brakes. Like, we actually need a well-balanced defense. Love that. One of the Niners going to have that epiphany on offense. Like, it's not all about toys.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have that epiphany anytime soon. It's going to be when they're forced to, is what it looks like to me. I've been saying offensive line for the last 3 years, and they continue to show that they like what they got there. They like Jake Brendel, whether we like it or not. They believe in Colt McKivitz, whether we like it or not. So they're just trying to figure out, hey, where do we play Burford? Where do we play Barch? And who are we going to get to replace them next year? I think that's where, at this point, you're not going to really get a great tackle. So if they do it, they can find a guard or center later on. And they probably won't even start, unless somebody's injured.
I want to make one point real quick. All month, I've been so skeptical about Trent Williams, just because I feel like it's my job to be skeptical. Yeah. And I was just so convinced he's retiring. He hasn't said anything. They're lying. They did this with Joe Staley. I don't believe them. Well, they didn't draft an offensive tackle. If he is retiring, they're not prepared for him to do it. It feels like he's coming back, or they expect him to. So that's good.
There's no way. There's no way that he's retiring. At least within their knowledge. If they have nobody, they need depth there. I think what they think is Burford. This is why I think I told you I think Barch is going to start at guard and Burford's going to be the backup everywhere. I think that's their plan: tackle and guard. Burford can fill in wherever they need him. Okay. So I think that's the plan this year. And I think next year they're going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to address it. But, you look like where they found Trent Williams. That was a trade that they made. They didn't draft him. So maybe that's the plan, when that day comes, because hopefully they're not going to be drafting at 11 next year.
That's a good point. Austin Rodriguez is about to go 7 straight O-lineman. Trust. The SNS show says the steal here is Deion Walker, then go O-line and running back. Oh my God, Shedeur Sanders. They're not going to take him, right?
No, what's funny is now I'm pulling for him. It's gone so far now. I'm like pulling for Shedeur at this point.
To me, he's like caught up in that Trey Lance thing where it's like, oh well, teams don't want that circus around here. It's like, well, he can't really control that, because if he gets drafted to whatever team, then every week the media is like, when are you playing Shedeur? Are you going to play Shedeur this week? What's going on with Shedeur? And I don't think a lot of teams want that with the backup.
Even the team he goes to has to explain to him why they didn't pick him earlier, right?
It's true.
Even the team he goes to. So, maybe
we really don't like you very much, but we love you.
Right. So what they're going to do is say, hey, we weren't planning on taking a quarterback, but we believe in, we thought it's ridiculous. That's how they'll spin it. But a humbled, hungry Shedeur Sanders may be a good thing. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Austin Rodriguez says, what are you doing if we snag Shedeur with 113?
What are you doing?
I'm loving it because I want more clicks. All I care about is my clicks in my life.
Yeah.
Rod Simmons says Larry and Ryan got the fan base scared of our first pick. I saw what you and Coach make the case why this 20-year-old kid comes and grows as a Niner Iggy. All right, I got one more thing to say about
what
Michael.
did I do? What did I do? I thought I'm just being real about guys, man. That's all. You guys.
I was over the top with my homerism with this time. Yeah, I got one more point I want to make about Michael, why I like him. So, didn't have the pass rush numbers for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons was he was double teamed a lot at Georgia. They looked at him as the guy. On the Niners, he won't be double teamed ever. That's Bosa. So he's going to finally get opportunities to be like the complimentary dude, the guy who gets one-on-ones. Doesn't mean he's going to be a Pro Bowler. I don't know. But I do think he's going to have so many better opportunities in the NFL than he did in college. Something.
What I said, just to clarify, because people jump on you, right? Like when you're not like gung-ho about it, dude. What I did was lay out the case.
Yep.
He did not have the production that you want from a first-round draft pick.
Nope.
But you look at him and you see the potential there. You also look at he was a rotational guy. So he's not going to have that much production because he's not playing as much. But being a rotational guy means you're not used to playing every single down. And you might have some, what's the word I'm looking for? You might have some issues adjusting to the NFL. But the fact that now he's outside and the fact that they got Alfred Collins to help him, that is encouraging to me. I watched the interview with Michael talk about how he's excited to have an opportunity to play in the wide nine because he thinks that's going to allow him to be more productive. And that may absolutely be the case. I was just laying it out factually.
I thought you did a good job too.
Appreciate it, buddy.
I just like the pick because I think a lot of Niner fans wanted Walter Nolan, Mike Green, and these are really good players. But to me, they're so pass oriented. They are pass rushers who could give you a little bit against the run in the right system, but I don't think the Niners are the right system. And I like that the Niners are like, yeah, that's great, but we need run defenders. And we want people with some potential to develop as pass rushers, but we don't want guys who are one-trick ponies and that don't have the body type to develop into assets against the run. So like Michael, you could argue he's the only 3-down rookie D-end in the draft right now. Like other guys could develop into it. Even Abdul Carter, is he going to play all 3 downs as a rookie? They got Brian Burns and who else they got? Kayvon Thibodeau and all kind of guys. I mean, he might be a situational pass rusher at first, which is fine. Alden Smith was, but Michael's going to be on the field on 1st and 2nd down because that's where he's going to make his biggest impact anyway.
And he probably will. And my only point, my caution with it is he didn't do that in college. So we haven't seen him do that. Doesn't mean he can't. But that is a fact. I hope people are okay with me sharing facts, but that doesn't mean he can't.
Yeah, there's all these mitigating factors and contextual reasons why he could do better, but he hasn't done it yet. And it's fair to be bullish about the pick for all these reasons. Saleh believes in him, and the Niners have track record, and Chris Kaserik, and yada yada yada. But it's a projection. It's not a slam dunk. Of all the Niners picks, which one do you think is the biggest slam dunk?
Collins.
You know what you're going to get.
You know what you're going to get with him. He's a big beast in the middle, space eater, run stuffer. I like him a lot. So I feel like we're going to be okay with Alfred Collins. Either way, I don't think there's any risk there, in my opinion.
Serious, real quick, imagine they take Deion Walker at 113, what that means to that defense. 6'7", 337 to go along with the other 2 big men. Fred's shirt will be clean to make plays. Same with Nick Martin. That's another big thing with Alfred Collins. Like he's going to keep Nick Martin and Fred clean. They could use another one. It'd be interesting if the Niners just kept going defense, D tackle, safety.
I want to ask you the question that you asked me. Who do you think is the safest pick here?
I'm really talking myself into Michael Williams. I really like him. Like the fact that he doesn't have the sack production doesn't faze me because I feel like none of the Georgia defensive players do. And I think a big reason is because they're so well coached and it's very much a read and react system, but they're so like drilled to not rush past the quarterback and you're not on your own as a passer. You're working together, and it's not like three guys on different levels. They're like caging you in. And I think that's sort of how you're supposed to approach pass rush in the modern era, because these quarterbacks are so mobile, and a lot of times it feels like their first or second read is scramble. So don't give them the green light. Like, make them play quarterback from one spot. 15 years ago, that wouldn't necessarily work because Tom Brady would freaking kill you from one spot. But now there's very few quarterbacks who can beat you standing still. Make them try. Even Mahomes folded in this Super Bowl because the Eagles didn't give him an escape route.
Yeah, with Michael, the thing that makes, what you just laid out, it's true. They play a rotational defense, 4-eye. So that's why you can assume he would have more production. But that's also an assumption, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, I don't know. He looks the part. He really hasn't had the opportunity to play that part. He was playing on a bad ankle, still looked good when he was able to play, but now he's got to play more often and more games in a different defense. And maybe his skill set translates perfectly, but it's just an assumption, a projection, a hope at this point. Doesn't mean it can't happen. It's just we haven't seen it. So
That's true.
It works both ways. Yeah.
But one of the things I like about him is like, you're not asking him to be Alden Smith or Nick Bosa. You have Nick Bosa. You're paying Nick Bosa to be Nick Bosa. $34 million a year. Go be the sack guy. Go be the closer. So and the thing with Bosa is like, he's a freelancer. He does what he wants to do. He has his own agenda when he rushes the quarterback. Sometimes he'll take a path to the quarterback that opens up scramble lanes and hurts the defense. I mean, he did in the Super Bowl. So if that's who you have, and he's a great pass rusher, but he's a little bit of an independent operator and he can put you in tough positions, it's nice to have other defensive linemen you can count on to be in their gap, to rush as a coordinated unit to stop the freaking run. I think that's like Michael's a nice compliment to Nick Bosa, and so is Alfred Collins.
And I liked what I saw from Evan Anderson. I liked what I saw from Khalil Davis before he got hurt. So if one of those guys turns out to be decent, then they're pretty solid, which is a good thing.
Dylan Peterson says, thoughts on the rest of the division draft for day 2. So we talked about it. We liked the Seahawks draft a lot. The Cardinals have made 3 picks, but 2 in the D line. Like, the Niners are trying to overhaul their D line. So are the Cardinals. The Cardinals took Walter Nolan, Jordan Birch. They signed Josh Sweat, Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell. That's 5 guys. So that's 2 teams in the NFC West that are really making a serious effort to overhaul their D lines. 2.
Yeah, and we talked about the Broncos defense getting better, but I mean, hey, Raiders, sneaky good draft right here. Ashton Genty, Jack Beck, who I like, Darian Porter, cornerback, and then 2 linemen, Caleb Rogers, Charles Grant, back to back. So Raiders, man, like, it's going to be cool to see Ashton Genty run behind that offensive line. They'll be fun. I don't think they'll win anything, but they'll be fun.
They will be. They'll be respectable. And let's talk tight end. I mean, the Rams. 2 picks. First one is tight end Terrence Ferguson. Really athletic dude. Don't know that much about him, but the Rams haven't had a good tight end in forever. So that's kind of interesting. And then next pick is Josiah Stewart.
I'm sorry. Who's the last good tight end that the Rams had? I can't.
They've had Tyler Higbee for like 8 years, and he sucks.
Yeah.
I think he was in the same draft as Kittle, and I think they took him before Kittle, and he sucks.
Yeah.
They had Gerald Everett too. He sucked. Yeah. So now, I mean, I don't know if this guy doesn't suck, but they're trying. And then Josiah Stewart, edge rusher from Michigan in round 3. Great fit for their scheme. Now they have like 3 edge rushers who are good, along with Verse and Young. Solid.
Yeah. I think they did a good job. Yeah.
Rod Simmons says, Ryan, I wasn't clowning you. QC, nice draft party.
Oh no, brother. I know you, man. It's all good.
I'm poor, says, does Kyle let these 4 rookies start? What are the options? Call up Devondre Campbell?
Luter might be able to take Stout's spot. Other than that, I mean, maybe Robinson or Bethune take Martin's spot. But other than that, there's a good chance that 3 out of 4 do.
All right. Daza, we're going to end this show now. Niners O-line draft is bordering on negligence, says Daza. And that's why this draft has been so crazy. Like they've done such a good job of diligently knocking off their needs, but they have more. They have more.
Yeah.
They really would have been well suited to trade down, but they couldn't do it.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're Niner fans. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are in charge. Get used to it, guys. I don't know how else to say that. Grant, can I say one thing real quick?
Please do.
Tomorrow at 9 a.m., I'm doing a call-in show on my channel. If you guys want to call in and tell me why my takes are awful, I'll be there. It's Sunday. It's the day of the Lord, so don't be too hard on me. Sunday, 9 a.m. Tune in.
Sunday. Love that. Right after the when it's all done. Make sure you go over to Ryan's channel,
Saturday.
like and subscribe.
Saturday. It's not the day of the Lord. Tomorrow's Saturday.
Yeah.
Freaking A.
Okay.
I just realized
we'll be
tomorrow.
doing the call-in show right during round 4. That'll be fun. It'll be like a little watch party.
There we go.
I like that. All right. Well, thanks for watching tonight, guys. Go have a nice Friday night. The Niners don't play a football game for like 6 months. Go enjoy yourself. Go watch a movie. Read a book.